All right, what's next? Got the rec room, where they got video games, presumably. That's not a video game. That's
I
1
love video
million
games.
chairs.
This is the rec room on the Titanic, and we're all about to sink to the bottom of the ocean.
Deserved. Titanic victim derogatory. It didn't take long wandering around the first floor to find the games room. It's one of the bigger rooms on the floor by far. The moment I stepped in, I almost jumped from the sudden cheering coming from Orlando, standing by a machine against the wall. I score! Woo! As I wandered closer, I saw that he was hunched over a pinball machine. A look of focus and joy spread across his face as he watched the ball move about the inside of the machine. While he finished his game, I had a look around the room. There was a bar in the corner, and a few tables set up. And shy of the mass of beanbags stacked neatly on the floor on the far wall, I would have assumed it was a casino. Pretty cool, huh? I looked across to Orlando, who spoke while he played with his eyes still tracking the ball. It's very, wait. Oh, it's very, Haas said ritzy, but he's been saying that about the place in general, really. Orlando stepped back from the machine, having finished his game for the time being. He's not wrong, though. When I walked in, I thought I was about to get carded for wandering into a private casino. You're all too young to be in a casino. Why are you so young? Then he pointed out some more machines nearby against the wall that seemed to just be slot machines.
Sorry
just
about
as
that.
well.
I wasn't trying to cough into the microphone.
But you did.
I did. It was
You
bad.
fool.
I like choked into my drink and then was actually dying there for a few seconds. I had to mute myself. I'm sorry.
Just as well. I don't have my ID on me. I would never find it in my bag, slightly farther away. But you're not underage. Neither of us are anymore. Don't they need to do that anyway, just to be sure? Maybe. But even then, you've got your wallet on you, right? The next thing I saw was Orlando patting down his pockets frantically. I must have left it in my room. And you could have just gone to your room to get it, right? Oh, I suppose that's true. Better tell Roswell, because he's gonna get carded for sure. Assuming to let him in at all, I somehow think a casino wouldn't want Roswell anywhere near the card tables. Between you forgetting your ID and Roswell not being allowed in, I'm sure you two would much rather go do something else anyway. Probably. The pair of them made quite the duo, which was probably why they ended up having a lot of fun running the school's anime club, as unpopular as it was at the start of this year. So, have you been playing pinball, or have you tried anything else in here? Mostly pinball. Didn't want to try setting up the other thing just yet. What other thing? There's a whole bunch of gaming systems hooked up to a TV or projector sort of thing over there. I couldn't figure out how to turn it on. And when there's something I can pick up and play with, why bother? That, I guess. There are card tables too, as I'm sure you've seen. More for poker, I think, but that's more Roswell's thing. My sort of cards have hollow foil and set numbers. Oh, yeah, from the booster packs. Then you make the decks and win. What?
Huh.
That was a weird exchange, a little bit.
Yeah, that was a little strange.
Well, I prefer more to collect. Tried the competitive thing once, but well, you were there for that. At the convention, right? I didn't think that many played card games. You were there to look at the other things anyway. Still, it was a nice adventure we took, huh? You just liked going in costume, as that one game that was really hard. Hey, it was a bit of fun, but I don't think many people really recognize the character. And it was still fun though, and maybe next time Roswell will come. At the very least, it's good to know there's something else here I can do instead of hanging around in the kitchen every day. Given how you've made everyone's desserts last night, it's no surprise you spent a lot of time in the kitchen. Well, I tried with what I had to work with. Tyson and Haas were the hard ones. You did like yours though, right? Yeah, I had coffee, so I was happy. But now I think about it. What? Are you open for requests? Depends. On what? The freezer's completely stockpiled with stuff, so we're fine for food for a long while, it seems. Same for the pantry, at least for basic sundries. So as long as it's within the house and not overly complex, there shouldn't be any problems. So, what about if I wanted pie? Pie, huh? Correct. Sure, pie is great. Pie should be easy enough. What flavor, though? I scratched my chin, thinking about it. Definitely apple pie. Absolutely. Apple pie is so easy to make that I did it on accident once.
What? How do you make a whole pie by accident?
Well, I didn't really know what goes into apple pie specifically, and we just had too many apples. We had too many apples, and I didn't know what to deal with how many apples there were because it seemed like they were gonna go bad. So I was like, I was just being industrious. I was just like, I'm gonna cook these apples. I'm just gonna do something here. This is like, I don't know, like 6 years ago or something. So I just looked up at like, what can you bake with just apples? and I found something that was just called like sauteed apples or something like that. Like it was just kind of like a vague, strange like description where I was like, I don't really know what to think of this like, recipe exactly, but I just followed it. And yeah, you're using like your brown sugar and your cornstarch and stuff. And then when I was halfway through making it, I'm like, this is just apple pie filling. I just made apple pie filling. That's what this was. This is just the entirety of the apple pie if you don't have a crust to put it in. And I did not.
Okay.
So that's how I made apple pie on accident, because I just didn't. I was so inexperienced with any of this process. I didn't know what I was making based on the recipe.
Yeah. Out of these, my personal favorite is probably apple pie, though I do like pumpkin pie and I do like cherry pie. So pick cherry pie, I think, is what I'm feeling, because Twin Peaks.
Is that why? You're hoping for a Twin
reasoning.
Peaks like hook?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I want.
No sooner had I said my preference than a broad grin broke out over Orlando's face, eyes wide and shimmer with delight. Cherry pie! For a moment I thought I said something wrong with how he was reacting, because I am a bad judge of emotions and character, apparently. But he quickly grabbed my hands in his, happy as could be. I love cherry pie. Oh? But why? The tartness, the color, the flavor. Plus, it was a favorite of my grandpa's, so all in all, good memories. It's probably the best pie there is. Have you not had it before? I shook my head,
sorry.
shrugging.
I want to hold off on something for a second. They keep talking about dessert like they've never heard of it before. And this was something I wanted to mention when we were in the kitchen or when we were in the dining room with Sal.
Yeah.
But like Sal was like, "Oh, have you ever had ice cream? I love ice cream. Strawberry ice cream. How magical." And like the main character was like, "Oh yeah, like, you know, this is tiramisu. I think it has coffee in it." And they were like, "I think I've heard of that. I don't think Orlando can have it. He can't have coffee." So I'm just like, is there like a really weird like matrix of like furry food allergies like that they just have never?
This is the anti-dessert universe.
Yeah, like is dessert like genuinely like a ritzy thing that people can't have very often? Because it's like It's
For me, it
ice
was like-
cream, bro. It's
Yeah.
ice cream.
It wasn't that. I don't think ice cream was framed as something exotic necessarily. But when he said like, "You want to try it?" I'm like, "It's strawberry ice cream." I think he knows what it is.
Yeah.
But then again,
Exactly.
just now, I was surprised when we picked cherry pie that he reacted like, "Have you never had it before?" And I'm like, usually when somebody requests a dessert, they probably have had it before, and it's their preference specifically. But then we're shaking our head, shrugging. So I guess he was right. We've never had cherry pie before, which is its own surprise that we requested a dessert we don't normally have or have never had.
Yeah.
I shook my head, shrugging. That's criminal. Well, good thing you picked cherry then. I laughed, backing up a little bit. Did you need help making it? Nope, I got it covered. The kitchen has a great oven. No need to breathe on anything this time. What does that mean? I don't think he needed to breathe on anything last time, though. Oh, because he's a dragon. He has fire powers. That's canon. Okay. I'm just used to the furries not having.
Yeah.
Like some.
Huh.
It's like there are definitely ones where you lean into the special characteristics of certain animals, but somehow I still wasn't predicting the dragon having the ability to breathe fire, because that's straight up like a superpower essentially. Even though it's like what a dragon would do. It's like once they're anthro and you're doing a story with them, that's a real specific fantastical setting. You don't quite expect that. That's quite the power. If you have fire breath, why not try it? Imagine how handy it'd be to know what you can and can't use it for. But cooking? Grandpa seemed to think it was a neat idea to try. You know, make the most of the skills you have. I mean, it was still a little burned in places. And undercooked in others, but not my proudest moment. For as much as of a failing that experiment was, Orlando was typically on the mark for his more experimental pieces. He had made the call to use his fire breath when the oven was playing up, and, well... Still, gotta keep at it, right? I'm in it just to make the things. And pie is just... pie. Pie is pie? Yup. That's one of the laws of the universe. Pie is pie. An object in motion stays in motion. And something I'll also need to get started on later. So I'm gonna get some more exploring done before I get stuck in the kitchen. Oh, you don't need to do it right away. Honest. Don't worry. I want to make you pie. I really do. Oh, well, So I'll see you at dinner, I think. Just don't go sleeping through it if you go for a nap. I won't. Orlando bounded past me and out the door, leaving me alone in the room. It seemed like a fun place, but without anyone to share it with, there was little reason to stay. There was every chance I'd find myself back in here later, so for now I left. I just remembered, right, dinner. When I picked the vault, it skipped to dinner, but that's not really telegraphed as being like the skip option.
Yeah.
So the bottom option is just dangerous at all times. Multiple times before it was sleeping, but this time we went to the vault, stared at the thing, didn't know the password, and then we just like zoned out for 8 hours apparently, and now it was nighttime and time for dinner.
The game is now teaching us not to click the bottom choice first. So I think that's fair for the rest of the game.
Yeah. In this case, we're kind of just churning through the meet and greet conversations anyway. The conservatory. I wandered all the way upstairs to where I'd run into Roswell and Haas the day before. As I entered the room, I saw Haas looking around, seemingly minding his own business. Seemingly.
Well,
what else?
hey.
What else could he be doing? He's alone.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just alone. What do you mean seemingly? Hey.
What brings you up here?
Just looking around.
What? Not looking to spend some quality time with me instead?
Oh,
You know, if you just wanted some quality time with Senpai, you just had to ask.
Oh, these anime club people.
Grown.
That's not,
Come on, Dave, relax. Relax a little. That's what I'm doing after all.
in here? The most relaxing room in the entire building? How?
Why not? Conservatories are great. Like greenhouses for people. This is where it zooms out and Dean is looking in through the window, just super excited. It's like a greenhouse for people.
This is where after 30 hours of playing this game, we just glance in the corner and there's just like a human face looking through the window.
Yeah.
It's growing people in here. See, so you can be outside. You can be outside without being outside.
Hey, there's more to it than that. How often do you get to be in a conservatory anyway? They're really obsessing over the fact that these are like some uncommon, crazy,
This is an uncommon type
experience.
of room, a life-changing experience. You don't understand how hyped I am in a chill, relaxed, sleepy way about the fact that this is a conservatory. It's like another type of room, but the windows are different than normal. Revolutionary. Next time we're gonna nerd out about the mud room. Do you know what a mud room is? It's like a room next to the front door that you go in when you're like covered in snow and stuff, so you can take off all your shit. It's a mud room. Outside that board game, never? Clue, you made that joke.
Even in a board game, I don't think it counts. You're talking about the one where you solve the murder of the butler, right?
Is this conservatory's existence an extended Clue joke?
I think so, but it's not the butler. It was the the person who owned the mansion.
Was it even the butler that was killed?
You know, it's been so long since I last played it, I don't remember.
I've never, ever played Clue, so I'm always like, it's Colonel Mustard with the candlestick at the fireplace. Get it? Mm-hmm. But I don't even know how to play it.
It's not that complicated.
It's just not on the list of games anyone actually wants to play ever.
Yeah.
Like, it's like just beyond the level of complexity that most family board game groups will likely have, and then once you graduate to like 20 and 30-year-old people playing tabletop games together, that entire category gets skipped right past. So it's like, when's this ever gonna come up? The only thing that crosses the middle of that Venn diagram is like Carcassonne and Catan.
Yeah.
Thinking back, ever since I played it, I wondered what a conservatory actually was. I guess now I know.
Generally, it's just a posh sitting room. I mean, it seems kind of redundant when you've got a place this big, not to mention the backyard being as big as it is.
I'm like, posh sitting room, as if having a sitting room isn't posh. Whereas your sitting room, it's just a room for sitting? Where do you have that? How many rooms do you have? Right. You use this room for what, exactly? Reading? Ew, imagine.
Yeah, could read. I guess I read that backwards, oops.
But wouldn't that be impossible when night fell? With all the windows, I mean.
Good thing they have lights then, I guess.
Yeah, did you just say it would be impossible to read here at night when you're surrounded by like 12 different lampshades?
There's literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lamps in the room right now. 7, there's a 7th one it looks like, by the window.
But wouldn't people be able to see in?
Normally, yeah, but who's gonna be looking in? Forest around the mansion means that the closest neighbor would need a telescope at best.
I guess you're right.
Kinda like it though. I'll probably do my morning stretches in here as opposed to my bedroom.
Stretches? You mean... Oh. Is Pilates even stretches? Isn't it more active?
Pilates are like cardio, aerobics, stretching.
Yeah.
It's kind of a mix of all three.
Yoga's just like the obvious brain answer.
Yoga, huh?
Yeah, that's the stretchy one.
As opposed to...
The, dancey one?
You mean Zumba?
Maybe?
You think I'd be dancing that early in the morning?
I didn't say Zumba. I picked the other one. You suggested Zumba. You could.
Could? But that'd kind of mean to the rest of you guys if I started blasting music. That'd be kind of mean to the rest of you guys if I started blasting music that early, right?
Oh, right. How did I turn into the dumb guy in this conversation when you introduced Zumba? Haas stretched, looking me over and shooting a happy smile. I guessed yoga.
You know, you should join me sometime, honestly.
What, really?
Sure, couldn't hurt. Why? Worried that I'd be getting you up at dawn?
Also could literally hurt. A little.
Alright, then I'll hold off getting up at dawn if I'm dragging you along. Normally I'm up real early, but I'm willing to make an exception.
Maybe Sal would be a better choice. He's up early too.
He is, huh? Might join him if he's doing something like a morning jog. Might want to reconsider if he's going to the pool.
Why is that?
The chlorine in this fur, you know the damage that could do?
Oh, but wouldn't a shower help with that?
Obviously, but drying off first only to take a shower later seems a bit double handling, don't you think? What a prima donna.
Yeah. Oh, no, there's a shower at the pool itself, so you could just shower there.
Oh, well, that's all right then. I might go see what morning routine he's got planned later then.
Haas looked off to the side, stretching again.
Still, despite being on holiday, gotta keep that practice up, just in case. So if you're ever interested in helping me with lines, just let me know.
Sure. But what happens now?
I'll probably stick around here and lounge about, check the acoustics of the room, maybe get a catnap in yourself.
I don't really know yet. Probably keep wandering for a little bit longer.
Well, in that case, I guess I'll see you later.
I nodded to Haas before heading down, figuring I'll continue looking around elsewhere. It's like we're getting all this really granular details about individual rooms and people's habits and what they might feel like doing tomorrow. And they're all going to be really crucial because half of them die in an hour. It's all clues. Museum. Whoa. Also, I would call this a library, but okay. Are they all behind glass? I guess that keeps the dust off the books. That's kind of handy, actually. Because dusting books is like impossible. You would kind of want it is kind of better to keep them like protected, but what the hell? I would expect to find a linking book in this room. What? This is powerful. It's absurd. I found myself on the top floor again, following the sound of someone humming. The room was large, reminiscent of a study on steroids, or perhaps a trophy room, or even a library that had more than just books, somewhere off screen, presumably. Roswell was already wandering around, running his hands over some of the books, looking them over before he noticed me.
Oh, Dave, I didn't see you there.
Roswell wandered over, happy as could be.
This place is great. They have books on nearly anything you could ask for.
Really?
Really? Even a few on ghosts and summoning demons. I haven't had a proper look, but if it's an interesting collection, it's an interesting collection, that's for sure.
You're telling me? What sort of place has books like that? Roswell snickered to himself, shaking his head.
No ordinary mansion, that's for sure.
You didn't really sell our souls for this, right? Like that was only to mess with Orlando.
I promise, nothing like that.
Roswell unwrapped a piece of candy and threw it into his mouth, smiling to himself.
I had a look, and those books look sketchy at best. Almost like made as a joke. It wouldn't surprise me if some of these were made just to mess with people.
He just pulls out the one he's talking about. Look at this. The Bible? Just gets really edgy really fast.
Oh my god.
Still what? If they're just to mess with people, they can't be that dangerous, could they?
I can guarantee that there's a very, very low chance of anyone just picking up one of these books and doing any real harm. Unless they decide to bludgeon you with it from behind.
And then that's exactly what happens later. Roswell. Not funny.
No one's barbaric enough to commit murder with one of these books. They aren't nearly heavy enough. He's gaslighting us so that when he kills someone with a book, we don't think about it.
Yeah, it's an anti-clue. What a bizarre conversation. How did we get here? I followed as Roswell pointed to one of our books on the... pointed out some books on the top shelf of one of the bookcases.
Only really heavy ones are those encyclopedias up there. It'd be a lot of work to get them down just to hit someone over the head with them. You could do better with, like, a knife or something.
I feel like I'm talking to Akane right now.
Yeah.
Like, where it's just like a very... It's like the way that Akane would just bizarrely work in pseudoscience conversations and they were all actually relevant to the plot. And, like, Roswell, like... We walk into a library and he's like, some of these books are really dangerous. And you're like, oh, like, they're, like, forbidden texts. It's the Necronomicon. Like, what's contained in these books? It's like, you can really kill someone with this. Look how heavy it is. What? Roswell? What are you talking about, Roswell? Once again, I feel uneasy about how casually Roswell was talking about how one could off someone with what was in the room. Once again? Is this a reoccurring bit with you? Roswell must have noticed as he hurriedly dug around in his pocket for another piece of saltwater taffy and handed it out to me.
Sorry. Too much detail?
Just... maybe a little?
Don't worry. These sorts of things are all so low in probability of happening. You can just say so low in probability. You have a better chance of winning the lottery.
The lottery is chance-based.
Yes.
Murder is someone doing it, choosing to do it. My attention went to a suit of armor in the corner, a large sword resting underneath its hands on the pommel. What about something like that? As I pointed it out, Roswell followed my gaze and nodded slowly.
It's possible?
I mean, borrowing that sword seems easier than climbing a ladder to get a heavy book, right? The way Roswell seemed to thoroughly consider the option was almost worrying. His brow was furrowed and he scratched his chin before flashing me a polite smile.
Well, maybe. Have you ever used a sword before? Ones like those can be kind of weighty. Not to mention, you'd have a hard time prying it away from the armor. I'm gonna be a sword nerd for a second and let people know.
Sword nerd.
Swords aren't actually that heavy. Like, even a really, really big two-handed sword usually isn't very heavy. They're like, they're anywhere between like 6 to 15 pounds usually, because the whole point is to be really nimble with them. Like the idea of like a super heavy greatsword, like in like Berserk or something, isn't actually that true. Like, people don't realize that weapons in medieval times like needed to be usable. They were very nimble weapons, most swords, and like you use them in many different ways, and like it wasn't all just big cuts and slashes and heavy strikes.
Well, I mean, most people's exposure to swords is reading young adult novels where the 12-year-old picks up a sword and says it's heavy.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you gotta build up those sword muscles, Aragon, by swinging it around for 12 hours while you develop your dragon telekinesis. I never finished those books. They took so long to finish the last one that I feel like I aged out of the idea of reading it. What makes you say that?
Well, because it's just a display. Chances are that the sword is tied down to something or in some way attached to stop it from falling over. Normally, someone wearing that armor would be pushing you down, you know, to keep it standing upright like that.
I guess that makes sense.
Uh-huh.
So, Roswell, anything else deadly in the room I should know about? Roswell laughed at my attempt to lighten the mood, and I found myself smiling too.
Deadly? No. Although if you're ever looking for information or even just need things to look at, this is the room. I want to keep exploring this room. Still plenty of things to check out. What about you?
I guess I'll keep looking around the mansion. I haven't really thought that far ahead.
Well, if you get bored, you'll know where to find me.
Giving me a quick salute, Roswell wandered away, disappearing behind a bookcase while I turned around and left the room. So that sword comes up later.
Yeah, clearly.
That sword, there's such a fixation on that sword specifically that'd be strange writing if it was never mentioned again. So I'm like, finally, the greenhouse! We can go inside after literal hours of anticipating. Dean mentioned that this morning that he was going to check out the greenhouse. I hadn't been to a proper greenhouse before, so this was the perfect time to check it out. Dean, you in here? Yeah, just a sec. Well, hey, good looking. Come to see me especially? Must be my lucky day. Sorta. You said you were checking the greenhouse out. Figured I'd come check it out too. Dean gestured to the pots and plants around him, wearing his trademark friendly smile. What do you think? Seems neat, I guess. I inhaled deep through my nose, enjoying how fresh and earthy everything smelled. Only neat? Okay, so it's pretty good. I like how it smells in here. You and your nose. Yeah, I also like how Tyson smells, Dean. But yeah, I suppose that you're right about that. It's very fresh in here. Although maybe you don't go poking holes in the bags of fertilizer unless you want a different sort of smell assaulting you. I chuckled, shooting him a toothy grin. What if David's into that too, huh? So you've been checking things out here since breakfast? Pretty much. There's a lot more out here than I assumed there'd be. But I guess if someone's living here, it makes sense there'd be something. Pity we're only here for a month. Otherwise I'd pitch in and grow something too. There's potting soil, trowels, a cabinet with various seeds, everything you could need to get to work. If we were staying for longer, I'd probably try to grow something. Shame we're only here for a month. You just said that. Who's taking care? I guess the butler takes care of the plants. Like, I'm presumably there's some kind of upkeep that's necessary in this month, and they can't just leave. Oh yeah?
Yeah.
What would you grow? Vegetables? Well. Dean shuffled uncomfortably, avoiding my gaze. He snuck a look at me, flashing a warm, if fleeting smile, before replying. I mean, I do like vegetables, but flowers probably. Flowers? When I questioned him, Dean shuffled on the spot. He looked uncomfortable and muttered something under his breath, something I couldn't quite catch. Next thing I knew, he looked me in the eye, his tone serious. Can I be honest? Sure. He sighed out, looking away again. There's a great deal of things I'd like to grow. Trees, flowers, vegetables. Hell, growing a tree to cut it down for lumber to make something for the house. Or flowers to bring home to my beloved. The moment he said it, I felt uncomfortable, knowing where his intentions were. I knew what he wanted, and I wanted to reciprocate. I genuinely did. But there were things that made that complicated. If things had gone a little differently, I probably would have been jumping up and down at the prospect of getting flowers. Dean... Well, that'd be a best case scenario, of course. You never know. We might end up having a proper date one of these days, and you'd be set. Make a clean getaway with all these fresh grown goods from your personal farmer. Dean's laughter seemed genuine, but there was still that tinge of sadness that followed. There are already things growing in here, so I can take care of them instead of growing something from a seed. Much faster. Honestly, probably for the best. Just in case there's a setup or something. Don't want to go messing with that just in case. Yeah, probably a good idea. You don't want to get caught growing weed or something. You know, I probably could if I tried hard enough. And if there was something already started in here, well, I don't know much about it. Again, he laughed, and I fought the urge to ask if he was serious or not. So, what are you doing now, Dave? Gonna keep looking about? Yeah, I thought I'd stare at a keypad for 8 hours and zone out, and then just feed you guys up at dinner. It's probably next on the docket.
Yeah, I'm just gonna type one password, but I have to hunt and peck for every key, so it's gonna take me a little while to figure out where all the letters are. Huh? Just like strawberry ice cream, I've never used a computer before and have no concept of what one of these are.
Huh? What makes you ask that? You seem to like wandering about. I'm pretty set here for the time being, so you hanging around here would be nice, but you're gonna get bored. I chuckle nervously. While the place seemed neat, he was right. I had no idea about most of the stuff in here, and I just didn't have the same passion for it Dean had. You got me there, so I guess I'll see you later. Suits me. You stay out of trouble now. Dean, of all people, is the one that kind of pushes us to leave. It's a surprise. Dean wandered off behind some of the plants, humming to himself as he did so. As for me, I headed back inside the mansion to figure out what my next move was. Not what it said, but sometimes I just say the wrong thing and I double check and it's close enough and I don't correct myself. It's not worth it. That was interesting because that dialogue kind of prompted us to think that maybe they have some kind of history or reason why it doesn't work out already, which was more than it seemed like was what was implied before.
Yeah, completely. It just seemed like he was always pining for him before. So it's just kind of intriguing.
Input password.
Do you have any other guesses? I wonder if it's going to be something arcane or if it's literally going to be password. You should try password.
Oh, no. I would be a little mad.
Okay.
I'd be a little mad if it worked. I would not know how to emotionally process that outcome. Time slipped away. And then, yeah.
Hey, Dave.
I must have sat down next to Roswell when I entered. It's a weird... Huh. Are you possessed? What's going on here? Like, I don't know what happened. I just was here somehow, and now I'm next to someone. I must have sat down next to Roswell when I entered. It was the closest chair to the door by far. Not only that, but the food was already on the table. How long was I on autopilot?
You look wrecked. Are you all right?
Yeah, I think so. My head felt cloudy, fuzzy, as if I was still waking up. What is wrong with that keypad?
Well, if you're sure.
Is it morphogenetic fields? I remember nodding, with my awareness slowly returning. Maybe I'm just tired. I know I was downstairs before, and I guess I just zoned out.
Downstairs? In the gym?
No, in that other room, the one with the big door.
Oh yeah, that's the vault. I know the one you're talking about.
The vault?
Right. Because of how the door looks. Even has a keypad next to it, wanting a password, so it's bound to have something important behind it. I tried a bunch of words though. Nothing. Not even password. All it did was just beep at me.
Feel called out a little bit.
Yeah.
Although he did extreme password.
He did extreme password, as opposed to casual, light baby game password.
Yeah. Why is that? That's... I didn't even know that was possible. What? Got a bunch of words. I didn't even know that was possible. What wasn't possible?
Yeah.
What's not possible? Huh. What is he saying that in response to?
Oh, I thought maybe it was like a computer, so
Roswell looked away quickly, eyes bulging and looking worried. Wait. Is that the password to your computer, Roswell?
No. What? Don't be silly. Just, please maybe forget that. Please.
Roswell turned to the food in front of him and began eating. I did much the same, but I found myself thinking about what I'd seen so far. The pool looked inviting enough. At the very least, Sal seemed to be enjoying it, not to mention the fact that it seemed equipped with everything just to hang out shy of a minibar. You're not allowed to drink yet. Maybe they can. What country is this? We don't know what country this is, do we?
No. I mean, the signs are all Taiwanese, but I don't know about in universe.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's the same country as the creator either, but
yeah.
In the US, you can't drink till you're 21, so minibar. What are you even looking for, buddy?
Yeah.
The gaming room seemed fun, although I worry as to how Orlando perceived it. It wasn't really a casino, right? Would it matter? Are you simultaneously like, oh man, sketchy, a casino, I'm not supposed to be here, but also like there should be a minibar? Those are both 21. The gym is something I'm not sure I'll use, at least not to the extent Ty is likely going to use it. But now we have a place to work off some of the food we were eating while we stayed there, which you won't use. If I wanted a place to relax, the conservatory seems to be like a good place to go. Might have to fight Haas for the space, depending on if he was using it for rehearsals, though. There was the museum, full of stuff that honestly I didn't expect from a place like this. Still, probably more things there for me to find if I looked hard enough. Yeah, for somebody who explored the museum, we don't know what's in it.
Yeah.
We did not, like, if the purpose is to explore the rooms and get us a description of them. Yeah, it gave us a screen. It gave us a picture of books, and then it said that there was books here, and also stuff that's not books. It basically said
there's so like a sword and armor. Yeah, that's
we know there's one knight in armor, and that's the only thing in the entire room besides books. But there's also stuff that isn't books that they never described, and they're still not describing it. Still, probably more things for me to find if I looked hard enough. Greenhouse was cool. It was almost like a private jungle, but given Dean's interest in the place, there was every likelihood he'd use the seclusion to, well, he'd make the most of it. Especially if we were the only ones in there. Okay. Better avoid the greenhouse unless I want to get fucked. Once again, I zoned out. The rest of the dinner is being a blur.
He's all about the greenhouse.
Yeah, damn. His green thumbs in his pants. I think it's a grower. Stupid fucking. No one should listen to me talk anymore. Go away. Stop watching. I vaguely remember everyone saying goodnight. I think I replied.
Hmm.
The tone of it almost makes it sound like he's trying to tell us, he's trying to recall for us what happened on this in this story afterwards, the way that he speaks in such vague terms about what he's even doing.
Yeah, he does. It's just like there's like a weird, honestly, in general, I say issue, but there's like a general sense of just like vagueness in this story so far.
He's like sleepwalking through the whole thing, but they specifically need to like characterize every moment of time passing as him passing out or zoning out.
Yeah. I can't tell if it's like actual characterization or if it's strictly for the purpose of like,
yeah,
you know, like getting the plot moving.
Like, it makes you wonder if it's coming up this often, is it just to skip ahead over and over again, but feeling the need to explain it instead of just letting time pass like normal?
Yep.
Or if it's characterization, like it's a thing that this guy just deals with, is he's constantly zoning out or passing out. Or if it's like a hook for something that's like yes, we should be worried about. Like, is this a distressing thing that we should be alarmed by, that he keeps like it's almost like somebody else is like controlling his body sometimes, and he's not aware of the passage of time and so on? Because that would definitely be
like, you can't trust. You can't trust if it's actually signposting something for the plot, or if it is just like, you know, the nature of amateur, you know, writing and game development of like, oh, we need to move on. Here's the option. It's the sleep button.
I'm trying to parse what I'm supposed to think about it, or how worried I should be.
I mean, I think the best thing to do is just to mark it away, right? To say like, this could be a possibility, but also like, don't try to read the entire text through that lens, just in case it's not right. Like, we truly don't have enough information yet.
I think I feel like we're getting closer to the part where something's going to happen.
Oh yeah,
like, this is the extended setup. Being alone in the dining room put me on edge. I don't know why, but maybe it was just the isolation. As my vision focused, I realized I wasn't the only one in the room after all. Oh. The otter gave me an appraising stare. His gaze drilled into me in a mix of curiosity and concern.
Are you well? You seem, distressed.
My mouth felt dry suddenly, and I quickly looked around. Yeah, I'm fine. Another long stretch of silence passed. Despite being on the opposite side of the table, it felt like he was right next to me, and not in a good way. Just fine. Tired, maybe. I don't know.
I like that whenever we play a visual novel together, we say out loud something that we're like, I wonder if the story is going to do this, and then it immediately begins addressing the thing we bring up. just immediately. It's happened every single time.
Benson's just staring out like, is this kid okay? Like, what the hell?
Then may I suggest you return to your room and retire for the night?
The doors lock at night. Toaster?
Oh, for some reason the text wasn't displaying. Give me a moment.
Womp womp.
Discord not being nice. I was like truly just waiting for the next line of dialogue. I thought you were just sitting. There we go.
The stream just froze.
Yeah.
Weird.
All right. The others have all done the same, and the mansion is far too large to be wandering around by oneself in the dead of night.
Is it dangerous? There was no response shy of his polite smile. That's a weird response. But in a way, that smile made me tense up more, making me feel more uneasy.
Well, I wouldn't say dangerous, Master Dave.
That's also a weird not no.
Yep. No danger at all, so long as everyone's in their bed.
Oh.
There's a game going on, and we don't...
Something's happening.
Yeah. The ghosts come out at night.
It's the Resident Evil dogs. My gaze narrowed, confused. How he phrased that seemed off. You make it sound like they're not all in their beds. Again, the polite smile returned. His voice was level and calm.
At the very least, you aren't.
Benson turned briskly on heel and slowly wandered away. The moment he was out of sight, a chill ran down my spine. I made my way out of there as fast as my legs would take me until I was in my room. Just imagine him just fucking booking it. Just stomp, slam, slam. There's just like a massive reaction, like he completely, like an explosion.
He runs up the stairs on all fours like a little gremlin.
Yeah, he's like running like you heard a gunshot. Like like if you say as fast as your legs take you, like that's a strong reaction to a slightly creepy butler. The moment I got to the other side of the door and closed it, I started to pace. I was just imagining things. It was all in my head, whatever it was that I was feeling. This was just an unfamiliar house, and I hadn't settled in yet. Okay, so whatever the feeling was wasn't them just kind of awkwardly signposting. He's supposed to actually be feeling something like a presence or something that's wrong. Something's actually happening, apparently.
Yeah.
Despite reinforcing this in my head, I yelped when I heard a knocking on my door. I froze, staring at the door, unnerved by Benson's behavior downstairs. Gulping, I croaked out. Come in? Dean eased open the door and closed it shut behind him, eyes trained on me, and he looked irritated. Hey, Dean, You were out of it at dinner. What's wrong? Nothing at all. It's just my tulpa. Dean clicked his tongue before shaking his head. No, I know something's up. I've known you long enough to learn that much, Dave. Spill it. I shuffled uneasily at the spot, avoiding Dean's gaze. Does something feel off about this place to you? About Benson? The question seemed to take Dean aback. He blinked and seemed to think it over. While he was thinking, I continued. He's the only staff. We've seen no one else. Dean crossed the room and placed his hands on my shoulders, waiting until I looked at him proper. Are you okay? Yeah, I think so. Why? Just rattled? Yeah. Dean kneaded my shoulders, making biscuits, massaging the tension I had been holding in my neck. Maybe he wanted to do more, or say something, but his eyes held fast to the spot on the floor nearby. All right. Well, if you wanted to talk, I'm just down the hall. I flashed him a wry smile, seeing if I could lighten the mood. Just talk? He stopped suddenly, looking down at me before meeting my smile with one of his own. Then that smile grew into one of Dean's signature grins. Just talk, huh? Well, I suppose if talking isn't enough, we could do something else with our mouths. I laughed, and a lot of my worries fell away right then and there, along with the drum and bass. I leaned down and gave me He leaned down and gave me a quick hug before holding me gently at arm's length. Everything will be fine, Dave. But if it ever bothers you, you know where I'll be. You know how I am. But don't think for a second I'm not looking out for you, alright? Promise. With another nod, he's gone. A faint fluttering in my chest made me feel warm and comforted. Just go sleep in the same bed. Just hang out. you scared. You need the huggies. Imagine trying to imagine having to try to just shake it off and be like, oh yeah, everything's fine. I'm fine. Nothing weird at all. After you just booked it up through the loud echoing house where a sound carries like crazy, and you just had to run up the stairs.
Yeah. No, I mean it's also it's like a big scene to have in the middle of this the first day of a vacation that you're supposed to have with a bunch of people. Yeah. And you're basically having a panic attack in front of everyone. I mean, that's not a bad, don't feel bad about having a panic attack if you're in a social situation, you're nervous. I get it. It is, I guess, ultimately a lot of things happened at once very, very quickly. And then
and he's just trying to play it off and act like none of it happened already.
Exactly. Like he's like, oh no, I'm fine. It's fine. Like I out of it. I don't know. And
Weird.
it's like,
why would you be concerned? I was behaving completely normally.
Yeah, it's just like, it's not convincing anyone, dude. Like, it's fine. You could just say like, I'm having a rough time and I just need to take a break. Like, it's okay.
The Emperor has no clothes. But with my mind at ease, fatigue hit me hard and I had turned in for the night. Day 3.
Wow.
Here we go. So which character is now dead? It is rough.
No.
I do not know what the pacing at the beginning is.
Is it going to be a game of werewolf? Is this going to be yet another murder game visual novel where you're just playing werewolf?
Just gotta parse the clues, figure out what they're up to.
Who is the doctor? Who is the sniper? The fucking mafia game.